Whether it took a game, a season, or an entire career, these are NFL players with unbreakable records.
Lamar keeps, he's got the record.
Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning.
Let's start things off with one of the toughest dudes to ever step on the field, Brett Favre. During his career, Brett set a record for most consecutive starts in NFL history. Favre made his first start for the Packers in 1992 when he was just a 22-year-old kid. And he started 297 games in a row until 2010 when he was 41 years old. He never took a sick day and played through some of the most painful injuries you can imagine. The dude clearly has bones made of steel and the guy's on fire. What a beast! Next up, we have a record held by one of the most clutch and consistent dudes in NFL history. When you think of the highest scoring players in NFL history, you probably imagine touchdown mongers like Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. But the truth is that those guys don't come close to the amount of points that kicker Adam Vinatieri accumulated throughout his career. Vinatieri played for some of the best teams in the league and didn't retire until he was 47. He was practically getting senior discounts at the movie theater and playing in the NFL at the same time. And throughout his career, he scored 2,673 total points for his teams. Speaking of racking up points, in 2006, LaDainian Tomlinson had one of the craziest seasons in NFL history. That year, he scored 31 total touchdowns, 28 on the ground and 3 receiving. Not only did he win the NFL MVP award, but he also won just about every dude that picked him in fantasy football their league title. Ugh, my sorry butt picked Sean Alexander. Whoops. Yeah, we've all made mistakes, but one mistake you don't have to make is forgetting to like this video and subscribe to DropKick. Cause I'm a good friend and I'm here to remind you to do it. And maybe you can hang with us for as long as this next legend played in the NFL. Jerry Rice broke so many records that the NFL should probably just change the name of the record book to the Jerry Rice Book. During his legendary career, he set the records for most receptions, most receiving yards, and most touchdowns. He was not only the best receiver ever, he was also the most consistent. The man received for over 1,000 yards when he was 40 years old. He's like the LeBron James of the NFL. And unless Superman flies over from Krypton and decides to spend a couple decades playing wideout, I don't think any of his records are gonna get touched. One player entered the league and managed to break a couple of his records, the freak himself, Randy Moss. As soon as Randy Moss entered the league, he was causing nightmares for opposing defenses. The freak was 6'4" and fast as a frickin' leopard on speed. In his rookie season, he set the all-time rookie record by catching 17 touchdown passes. And later in his career, he teamed up with Tom Brady on the Pats to score 23 receiving touchdowns in a single season to break Jerry Rice's all-time record. But Tom Brady helped some other guys set some wild records as well. In 2011, Rob Gronkowski caught 17 touchdown passes from Brady, setting an all-time record for tight ends. Gronk was an absolute beast. In his day, he would trample over defenders like they were high school kids and score at will. And he was also one of the best blocking tight ends in the league at the same time. I don't care what you say. The guy was a better player than Travis Kelce. But still, Kelce is the one getting Becky from Taylor Swift. That lucky son of a... These NFL players are crazy. And up next, we have one of the craziest players to ever step on the field. Antonio Brown earned a reputation as a total maniac. But let's not forget that he was also one of the greatest receivers to ever play. And before their ugly divorce, he had incredible chemistry with Ben Roethlisberger on the Steelers. Big Ben helped AB set an incredible record by catching at least 5 balls and 50 receiving yards for 35 games in a row. Antonio Brown had some ridiculous speed, but not even Brown was as fast as CJ2K. Chris Johnson was a blazing fast running back for the Tennessee Titans. He was so fast that not only did he get drug tested with the other players, the league was checking his shoes for rocket launchers. Turns out he was actually just hiding them in his butt. Nice try, NFL! Anyway, in 2009, Chris Johnson earned the nickname CJ2K by rushing for over 2,000 yards. But that same season, he also received for over 500 yards, giving him 2,509 yards from scrimmage in one season, the all-time NFL record. It took Johnson an entire season to break the yards from scrimmage record, but it just took one half for this next player to break his record. In a game against the Bears in 2010, cornerback Dante Hall took over like no defender ever has before. The Bears were up 14-10 in the third quarter, but after that it seemed like every ball Jay Cutler threw was caught by Dante Hall. By the time the game was done, Hall caught 4 interceptions all in the second half. It's the most interceptions any player has ever caught in a single half of football. One of them he took all the way back for a touchdown, which proved to be the game winner. Now Jay Cutler is so haunted by Dante Hall that he wears a diaper to sleep every night. But decades ago, every quarterback hated this next safety. To find the all-time interception leader, we have to dig way back into the books to honor Paul Krause, a legendary safety that recorded 81 picks in his Hall of Fame career. That's just insane! Some receivers don't even catch that many balls. Not even legends like Ed Reed, Rod Woodson, or Deion Sanders could even break that record. How did he do it? The only explanation we can think of is, magnets? And despite catching so many interceptions, this season someone has caught more pick sixes than Paul Krause did throughout his entire career. DaRon Bland of the Cowboys has already set a historical record this season, and he still has more games to keep padding it. DaRon Bland has already caught 5 pick sixes this year. Quarterbacks should probably just stop throwing the ball against the Cowboys because it ain't working for them. And punters probably should have stopped kicking anywhere near Devin Hester because he was flat out dangerous. When Hester played for the Bears, he was the best punt returner of all time. And if you don't believe me, then look at the record books. The proof is in the pudding. Pudding. Devin Hester returned a record-breaking 14 punts for touchdowns throughout his career. No one else is even close. Second place all-time had 10, and only 6 other guys even brought back half as many as Hester. But not even Hester returned as many kickoffs for touchdowns as this next record breaker. Cause no player returned more kickoffs for touchdowns in their career than Cordero Patterson. Patterson was practically snapping special teams players' knees with his moves. In his career, he brought 9 kickoffs all the way back to the house for touchdowns. The league has changed the rules since, making kick returns touchdowns extremely rare. In fact, this season there have only been 2 kickoffs returned for touchdowns, so Patterson's record will probably last forever. And up next, we have another player whose record won't be getting touched anytime soon. The Buffalo Bills have never won a Super Bowl, but they have come mighty close. In the early 90s, they made it to the game 4 straight times, only to get their dreams shattered and their hearts broken. That's painful. Do you ever wonder how they got there? Well, they had the most savage blitzer of all time, Bruce Smith. Smith was so relentless coming off the edge that he was practically foaming from the mouth. The guy was a truckload to stop. He was on a steady diet that consisted of only quarterback meat. And throughout his career, he accumulated a record-breaking 200 sacks. No player has even sniffed close to his record since his retirement. But Bruce Smith never had a game that he got as many sacks as Derek Thomas. That's right, in 1990, Derek Thomas recorded more sacks in a single game than any other player in history when he plowed his way through the Seahawks defense and took Dave Krieg down 7 times. Could you imagine? Every time Krieg blinked, he would open his eyes to Thomas crushing him like an empty can. In the third quarter, Thomas even sack-fumbled Krieg in the end zone, leading to a Chiefs defensive touchdown. But to Dave Krieg's credit, he continued to battle and threw a game-winning score in the fourth quarter despite his ass being as flat as a pancake by the end of the game. Krieg's resilience ruined Thomas's special day. Sort of like how this next player ruined an entire era for all his competition. Tom Brady is a legendary passer, but he isn't as well known for his ability to run with the football. I mean, the truth is that he never had much more mobility than a parking meter. But one underrated part of Brady's game was his QB sneak. If Brady just needed 1 yard, he could slip his way through a teeny little hole in the defense like no other. So he managed to break the record as the oldest player in NFL history to score a rushing touchdown in 2020. And then he broke his own record not once, but 5 more times. So now the 5 oldest players to score a rushing touchdown in the NFL are all Tom Brady. He scored the last rushing touchdown of his career when he was 45 years and 151 days old, which will be an extremely tough record for anyone to beat. And hanging in the league is pretty cool, but Brady wasn't just hanging in there, he was winning. And when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl for the Patriots in 2019, he became the oldest player in NFL history to win the Lombardi Trophy. And he could have retired as the greatest player in history, but in his mind, he had more to prove. He wanted to show the world that he didn't need Bill Belichick or the Patriots to win, so he signed with the Bucs and won another Super Bowl at age 43, in turn breaking his own record as the oldest player to ever win the big game. Brady was unbelievable, so whenever anyone breaks one of his records, it's a pretty big deal. And Aaron Rodgers took one from him when he was on the Packers. In 2018, Aaron Rodgers had an insane streak when he threw 402 passes in a row without a single interception. But that's not to say that 2018 was the best season of Rodgers' career. In fact, that same season that he broke the interception streak record, he threw less touchdown passes than any other full season of his career. He also recorded the lowest completion percentages of his entire career to that point. But he did all this while attempting the second most passes of his entire career. Kinda weird, right? But enough of all these legendary throwers. It's 2024, my friends, and today's quarterbacks play a different brand. One of the most talented quarterbacks in the league right now is Baltimore Ravens' Lamar Jackson. This guy doesn't just throw, he can run like the wind and can dance like a young Patrick Swayze. In 2019, he managed to break Michael Vick's single-season rushing record for a quarterback by scampering for 1,206 yards. Forget quarterbacks, that year Jackson had more rushing yards than almost all the running backs. The craziest thing is that he did it in just 15 games. But even in 2019, Lamar Jackson didn't average as many yards per carry as Michael Vick did throughout his entire career. In Lamar Jackson's record-breaking 2019 season, he averaged 6.9 yards per carry. That is the highest average of any season for Lamar. And Michael Vick, who ran like a psycho freak possessed by rabbit demons, averaged 7.0 yards per carry throughout his entire career. Remarkable stuff. And there you have it, boys and girls. Those were NFL players with unbreakable NFL records. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video too before you leave. And if you love records, why don't you check out this video here on Patrick Mahomes and every record that he has broken.